One of the first things I usually see people who are starting to shoot video buy is an LED light to mount on top of the camera. Now nothing is wrong with that of course, but the portable LED lights in general can serve a much bigger role in our toolkit besides just blasting the light at whatever it is we're shooting. So today I'm going to show you guys a small portable LED light and how you can use them more effectively for your shoots. Now since I've been on this channel, I've had many companies reach out to me about reviewing some sort of on-camera LED light. And for me to feature a product on this channel, it has to be something that brings something unique to the table, something I'd consider a great value, or something I'd recommend. Many of those lights didn't offer what I felt was worth showing you guys, so I never accepted them. Now the light I did accept was the Falconeyes F7 LED light, and here's why I went for this one. First of all, it's bi-colored, so I don't have to attach any filters to change the color of the light. And this is important because I can match the color temperature of the lights around me without any additional equipment. It's RGB, so I can choose any color I want and I can adjust the saturation of that color. It has an internal battery, so I don't have to worry about keeping up with batteries and charging batteries for it. It's USB-C, so I can use the same cables that I use to charge many of my other camera devices to charge this light, and you can power it through a battery pack if you're in a pinch and the battery is dead. It's really small, about the size of my cell phone, and one of the most important things is it's really bright. That's a lot of boxes to check, which is why I'm telling you guys about it. Now with this light being so capable, you really wouldn't be doing it any justice by just setting it on top of your camera. Lighting is probably the most important part of an image because without it, obviously you wouldn't see anything. So well-crafted lighting can have a huge impact on things. Lighting is usually what makes movies look like movies, not the camera. So what can we do with a little light like this? Well, being small is probably not the best thing to use for a main light. I have a huge light source in front of me right now, so the lighting is really soft. But if I only light myself with this light, it's really harsh. Even when I attach the included diffuser, it does help a bit to even out all the little LED lights, but a small light source means a harsh light. Just like with natural light, the sun is technically huge, but is relatively small in the sky, so lighting from it can be very harsh if you're in direct sunlight. But as soon as the clouds are in the way, they spread that light out and make it bigger. Then you have nice soft lighting. So unless you're diffusing this light with a huge diffuser or bouncing it off something, that probably wouldn't make much sense. So in the standard 3-point lighting setup, we have the key light being the main light, which in this case I have on me right now. This light will make a nice fill light or a backlight. Now since I'm next to a white wall, the key light is reflecting off of it and giving me some fill on this side of my face. So let's set this light up as a backlight. So since it's bi-colored, I can set it to match the color temperature of my key light. Or I can be more dramatic with it and go with a warmer color temperature like I have now. Or use the RGB lights to go even further. The light does come with a grid as well, so if you need a bit more control with the direction of the light, you can just throw that on. And if you don't know what a grid does, let me explain. Without the grid, the light is just shining everywhere in the direction that I'm pointed in. So even though I'm facing the light that way, you can still see the light that's coming from this light from the camera angle. It's shining on my face, it's shining on the camera, and it's shining in front of me. But by attaching the grid, it no longer does that. It keeps all of the light pointing in the direction that it's facing in. If I take off the grid, you can see the LEDs on front of the light. And as I turn it, you see less and less of the LEDs until about right here is when you don't see any of the lights anymore. So from this point on, the light will be shining at the camera basically, even though it's pointing mostly in that direction. But with the grid on, even though I turn the light, you still don't see any of the LEDs because all you see is the grid. I have to turn the light all the way over to about right here before you actually start seeing the LEDs on the light. So normally this would be shining light into the camera and every other direction that's over there. But because I have the grid on it, they are all blocked until I get to this point, and now the light will be shining in that direction. So it controls the direction of the light without actually cutting down on the amount of light that's coming out of it. Another simple use would be using the light as an accent. If I wanted to bring out the background behind me or something about it, then I can just place the light in a way that gives the shot more depth. So as you can see, that helps add a little bit more interest to what's going on in this shot by giving a little accent light behind me. One of my favorite uses for lights like these, and this is something they do a lot in movies, is to use it to exaggerate a practical light. A practical light is just a light source that you can see in a shot, like a lamp or a fire. Practical lights are sometimes necessary for the story that's going on, but don't always technically work out. A lamp might not be bright enough or the right color temperature, so you could stick this light in a lampshade and make the light look like you wanted to. When the viewer watches it, they will just see a lamp and they don't know or care about what's actually in the lamp that's making it light up. So imagine if you had a scene where the subject is in a dark tunnel and uses a match to try to light their way to an exit. You'd obviously want it to look dark, but the match might not be enough light to actually look good on camera. So what can you do? Well, if you match the color temperature of the flame with the LED light to shine on the actor's face, to the viewer it makes sense because they see the flame and it makes sense that the light from the flame is lighting up the person's face. So as long as you don't go overboard with it, you can exaggerate the effect with the light. If you look at the original Star Wars movies, the lightsabers didn't cast any light on anything in the scene. They didn't use real lightsabers, obviously, and nothing was on the set to simulate the light that they create to sell the effect. But with the newer movies, they chose to show how the light from the lightsabers light up the faces and the environment around them. So having a small LED light that you can put in places to help sell effects really come in handy. And lastly, this particular light has a bunch of built-in effects like party lights, police car lights, paparazzi camera flashes, and a whole bunch of other effects. Of course, with things like that, you don't want to go overboard with it and only use them when it really makes sense because things can get really cheesy really quickly. To quickly go over the physical aspects of this light, it has a full metal construction with a nice weight to it. It doesn't feel fragile at all. The only issue that I have with it is that I wish it wasn't this color, but other than that, the build quality is fantastic. On the back, you have a screen that shows the current settings of the light as well as the amount of battery that you have left. It has a 3000 milliamp hour battery, which is about the same size as the battery in an iPhone 11 Pro, and I actually haven't had to charge it since I got it. But if you're blasting the light at full power continuously, then it's rated to last at about 100 minutes. But for normal use, it's lasted days for me. The buttons on the side consist of a power button, which once you turn on the light, it cycles through the normal mode, the RGB mode, and the effects mode. Below the power button is a function dial which allows you to adjust the settings in each mode, like the color temperature, the hue, the saturation, or whichever light effect that you want. And the last dial at the bottom controls the intensity of the light from 0% to 100% in 1% increments. There's a sticker of a RGB wheel on the back which gives you a guide on which numbers to use for different colors, and they include a sticker that lists all of the effects modes, and I've stuck that sticker to the back of the light so I wouldn't have to memorize what all 20 of those effects are when I'm trying to set them. The top of the light has the USB-C port and the bottom has the Q20 thread hole. This light also contains magnets, so you can attach it magnetically to different objects without the need for any attachment tools. I do suggest attaching it to a flat surface to take advantage of all the magnets for security purposes, but you might be able to finesse attaching it on the side of something as well. In the box you get the USB-C charging cable, of course, a mounting attachment that's actually pretty good because it lets you mount the light at just about any angle and it holds it very securely. And of course the diffuser and the grid we talked about earlier, which just slide onto the light like a sleeve. They are both made of a silicone material and have a very nice soft feel to them. And I know some people might be concerned about the tabs possibly coming apart, but I really don't see that happening unless something very extreme happens to them. I think the reason why they went with silicone is because it can get smushed and stepped on and dropped with no issues, versus if they were made with plastic, they could definitely crack or snap from the same amount of abuse. I keep it in my bag at all times because besides the filmmaking and photography uses, it's still a light, so you can use it to find things in the dark that you might have dropped, or basically anything that you would use a flashlight for. So add that to the list. It makes a good flashlight. The link to this light will be down below, but no matter what light you're using, take these tips and apply them to your creative vision. Do things with more intention and with more purpose. I hope this video was helpful. As always, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and I will see you guys in the next one.